Let's do that bit first. Let's get that bit right. Let's talk to myself. Right. Normal rules apply. I'm going to say a big thank you. It's always nice to see some familiar faces. Yeah, to give up their Tuesday. Some of you are lifers and been here for doing it for a little while, and some coming back. So really much appreciated. So hello to everybody who's been here before, and especially warm welcome if you're a first timer. So that's right. So what are we going to do? Always say the same thing. We will be recording this. Yeah, we'll be recording it. There is there's the chat line to use if you've got any questions. I'll only answer the easy ones. As you know, if you'd like to engage on social media, that's the @ and the hashtag. So off we go. Now, before we start, got to say something. You know, we deliberately pitched this about digital marketing. It's a big topic, and we're not expecting people to be geeky. But quite a lot to get through. But hopefully, at the end of it, you'll have a guide as to the whys and wherefores. As always, you know, you can't let the day go by. You know, there might be the odd contrived joke in the afternoon, so keep an eye out for that. And also, we'll be doing a quiz. I was a bit worried, actually. I must confess, I was a bit worried today because I was been out and I didn't think I'd get back in time. I'd just been to the local bookshop, and I went up to the lady on the counter and said, "Have you got any books on turtles?" She did hardback. I said, "Yes, also, as well with little long necks and little heads." Right, that's the first one out of the way. Let's move on before they. Oh, we've got the ubiquitous marketing quiz where we start. Pens at the ready. It's just the easy one. Get us warmed up. You know, get into the swing of things. So, right, what's first? Oh, yes, here we go. The average consumer attention span is 10 seconds. Let's hope it's 60 minutes this afternoon for you lot. But the average consumer, it is, oh, it's false. 8 seconds. Caught you out there. So, yes, you have got a very limited amount of time. Next thing, that was a good one. Influencer marketing is $1 billion industry on Instagram. True or false? What does the chat line say? Oh, it does, yes. Yes. Right. So those of you who said a monster industry, for a product or for a tool that's only in its absolute infancy. Here we go. Next one. 75% of all marketing is expected to be spent on digital marketing. I thought eventually, after a couple, shoehorn the topic in a question. You're right. Correct. Next one. There's a good one. Content with relevant images is 94%. Which would help if I could speak. More likely to be viewed. True or false? It is true. You're doing all right. There is a prize. Yeah, there's a prize if you get them all right. Yeah, 4 times as many consumers would rather watch video than read about a product. True or false? Well, what's that chat line? I better go to chat line here. It is indeed. It is true. There we go. So how many got 5 out of 5? All right then, smarty pants. See if you get this one then. Come on. Who's that? This is why. Sit back and look smug. What do you mean I do that all the time? Come on then, who's that? Anybody on the chat line going to answer that one? Nobody's on the chat line answering that one. Oh, Steve says Alexander Graham Bell. Warm. Yeah, getting excited here. Here's that. This person is the founding father of digital marketing. Morse, no, Edison, yeah. No, that was the Edison. Wasn't your light bulb moment? Morse? No, got the code wrong there. Right, can I give more? Who's going to have it? Give in. Give in. Who gives in? Oh, who got that one then? Who got that one? Who got that one? Ford? What? Jack Ford? Henry Ford? That is. His name is Marconi. And he found, do you know what he found? Radio. Because, did you know this? You know, you always like this on Tuesday, a bit of trivia. In 1896, he was the first human to demonstrate public transmission of wireless signals. What is today? I haven't that one yet. We haven't got to the end. We are having a public transmission of wireless signals. Yeah. Marconi. Yeah. There we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's webinar, and thank you for. I'm only joking. Well, more to come. There we go, Marconi. Oh, what's Simon talking about now? What's he on? Digital marketing has nothing to do with the internet. What? Well, digital marketing is any form of marketing products or services that involves electronic devices. Yeah, thought of the day. Something a little bit more radical. There's a wider issue there, not just about using a computer. The difference is, really, there's two forms of digital marketing, online and offline. And we're going to take you through a journey for the next 3 hours. What did no one tell you? Only just for the next hour or so, go through online and offline. Online is where you are, in effect, connected to the wonderful Tim Berners-Lee invention, and the other is where you are not. There we go. Let's take you through this journey. So are you sitting tight? Normal speed. I'm going to whiz along, and if you've got any questions, get on the chat line. Hey, can you remember the days when we used to be in the car? Remember those days? As a parent and as a child, and those magic words were uttered. Are we there? Normally, when just about we got to the end of the road. So where's he going with this? Where am I going with this? I don't know. Let's have a look at the script. Okay, yeah, right. So remember the things called billboards? You used to drive along and you'd see, billboards and signs, a classic form of marketing. And I thought I'd just share one or two of you quite an amusing one there. And another one from AirAsia, very clever. What's this? Where's this going? Well, and some even clever ones. Look at that. BMW, your move, BMW, Audi, and look at that. Billboard wars and checkmate for BMW. That's what we used to do. We used to be driving along. And did you know that when people are driving along now, if you look on the passenger seat, what do you see? Well, no, don't make me blush. You'll see probably at least 10% of people looking at their phone. So the days of looking at billboards sometimes have been replaced by looking at something else. And when we're going to fast forward, likes of driverless cars and artificial intelligence, this is where we probably have a vision for the future of marketing, that people will be doing exactly this in a few years' time. So in effect, what we had back in the good old days will be replaced by something different. And we're going to talk a little bit about the future of digital marketing. Ultimately, what we're talking about is fighting for people's eyeballs. So you're going to be in a situation where there are literally thousands and thousands of messages out there. You see it now in all shapes and forms. You will see roughly in an urban environment and a working day up to 2,000 to 3,000 messages. And so really the secret is to make sure that your message is correctly targeted to the right eyeballs. And we haven't even talked about the technology, but fundamentally, this is what the theme will go through. And so to keep up the car theme, a bit the car metaphor today, your content that you put into the world in whatever method you choose should match every stage of a buyer's journey. I'm going to take you through a social media, a digital marketing strategy plan. And this is where we'll begin. And probably the most salient slides you will see. The first question I will ask you is, who is your audience? Who are you trying to reach? Because that will determine what digital marketing method or tactic you will use. Do you know the answer to that question? If you don't, I wouldn't do any marketing at all. Clearly identify who you are trying to reach. Who specifically? So their age, their demographics, their location, their behavior, etc. Clearly your audience, consumer, business, whatever. And I'll take you through this. This is the customer journey and a digital marketing model, which we will follow for the course of the afternoon. Firstly, you need to make people aware of what you do, your product or service. The people who are looking at that are strangers. In effect, we all start life as strangers, both in a sort of human sense and in a customer sense. People didn't know you. Once you've made them aware of what you do, there may well be a consideration process. That could be as little 2 or 3 seconds or quite a long period of time. You then get to a purchase stage. Hey, ka-ching! And then the most significant stage in many people's eyes is to retain your clients. And then ultimately, you'd like them to become advocates of what you do. A very simple 5 stages. Think about who your audience is, who they are, and then the different stages. And what we're going to talk about this afternoon is making sure that our message is quite clear to each customer or target at each stage. You will get a copy of the slides, and obviously you can see what we're putting for you in front of you again. But there you are, the customer journey. Critically, probably many people would argue the most critical, again, part of marketing is your brand and how you are perceived. Not what you think you are, but how you are perceived. So when you're targeting your audience, think really carefully about that. We'll come back to brand. So this is quite a light-hearted slide. But really, the essence is this: who your audience is, who your competitors are, but equally importantly, your theme or your brand. This is the essence of any marketing. When people often ask me about marketing, I always go back to the same thing. There are lots of definitions, and I've covered many of these on Tuesday afternoons before, but ultimately, it's about getting your message to your audience. Your message to your audience. Digital marketing is just a means. Okay, right. I'd always ask this question: how do you stand out from the crowd? If you're seeing 3,000 messages a day and your potential audience is being targeted, always the question: why should I buy from you? Why should I stand out from the crowd? And I often encourage many people, there's so much activity out there, is you're going to answer that question. Secondly, is to think very much about you being, oh gosh, I wish I could get into that position. I could about 30 years ago. It's about being flexible and nimble, because the world has been tipped upside down. We're talking now about making businesses COVID ready, we're talking about being remote, and we're talking about social distancing. Classic examples, one I saw the other day about a local hospice, and they were doing some marketing, and they were showing images of a nurse talking to a patient, and the image was fantastic, but they weren't 2 meters apart. They were next to each other, And so actually, the whole principle of the image was destroyed. It was salient 6 months ago, but now it just didn't make any sense. You actually were not making themselves COVID ready. They were making themselves friendly and affable and to the patients, but not to the family members. They were making sure there was issues there relating to social distancing, greeting a customer a patient, family member of a patient at the door, not 2 meters apart, was inappropriate. So it was a little bit of a mishap. So be really careful when you think about your images not being for the now. The other thing to think about with digital marketing is you've got to think long term. You're not going to do it for today or for tomorrow. You're going to do it for much longer term. Okay, you ready? That's your strategy then. Standing out from the crowd, longer term, being current, okie dokie. And absolutely critically is to make sure if you're going to crack open the piggy bank, make sure you've got a means of measuring your success. You're going to spend £100, £1,000, or whatever you're going to spend. Has it worked? Is it going to continue? Okay, let's crack on. Now, one of the big issues, I think, or the lady, Catherine mentioned it on the chat line about, do you need to be geeky? Do you need to know all this sort of stuff? The future of digital marketing is to try and automate everything. Time is quite short today, but there are many means of actually conducting what you'd like to do from a marketing perspective, and it can be done for you. Your investment is in the software. On the screen now, I'm not intending to signpost anyone, and you get a copy of these, is that the 7 organizations there, or tools and software you can use that will do your marketing for you, your digital marketing for you, to a lesser or greater extent. Come back to those. You can see, I'll leave that and you'll get a copy of the slides. You may Google some of those and see what can be done for you. Right. Remember the customer journey. Critically, one of the things that's driving a lot of activity and where many digital marketing activities are done are something called social proof. You'll probably see this when you're purchasing something on Amazon or you're booking a holiday. You'll often know it as a review. But one of the very, very first things to do is to set the table for digital marketing and to think really carefully about creating social proof. One thing to have a brand and to claim you stand out from the crowd, but do you have the evidence? Well, how do you get evidence? So I'd heartily recommend that you strive to get reviews, customer reviews. It gives you credibility. So I'm just going to, on the screen, there are 4 places which may or may not be applicable. If you're a builder, obviously you're a hospitality, in the travel industry, maybe TripAdvisor, a service-based business, and probably to the granddaddy of them all, that you would like to have visibility of credible, plentiful reviews. It's a great way of actually third-party verification of your business. So really strive hard to liaise with your happy clients and to pick up reviews and to then share those reviews online. Secondly, to create social proof is to probably be part of an association, and it comes under an umbrella and credibility. So look at that. Thirdly, then to think about the people who are your advocates, your brand ambassadors. And here's an example of 2 chefs working together. You know, the all for one and one for all type argument that you can actually partner with other businesses, collaboration. So that will be an engine room for social media and other areas by working alongside somebody. And finally, in terms of social proof, you may think about verification. So in social media and Twitter, Facebook, etc., you can get your account verified. So that gives you the sort of brand identity. Think really carefully. You've set the table, the foundations to look at social proof. Right, what's up next? Oh, I know. We're going to crack through now for the next part of our afternoon webinar to go through various different tools in terms of digital marketing. And in brackets was online. We'll cover some of the offline ones a little bit later, but I'm going to do this quickly quick. Are you ready? Now you're thinking, why is that old bloke put email marketing first? Well, you know, I think the most powerful form of marketing and the best form of marketing is always to communicate firstly with your existing customers, the people who actually generate revenue for it, your friends, the people who you own. So I would always begin with email marketing. Now we're back to the customer journey, and it's thinking of these 5 stages about the relevance or the message you would give at each stage. It is very, very different if you're marketing to somebody at the actual awareness stage relative to the retention stage. So it's all about the message, the audience at the right time. First thing I would highly recommend you do is to have a customer database. So either from your ERP system or whatever method, to have a database. And as I mentioned before, you can have software tools that often come under the umbrella of CRM or a customer relationship management system that may automate a lot of this for you. So I think you would cover the email that way. Naturally, some of you are going to say about GDPR, but if you are trading with somebody and have traded with them, you have a legitimate interest in contacting them by email, as long as they've got the opportunity to unsubscribe. So, email marketing, very simple. Many of you will be familiar with using MailChimp, and a great tool that is, and there are others which are covered within those systems. Critically, what's interesting, this is a slide which is a little outdated, but it's the email marketing, I've shown it before, has actually increased. The open rates have increased because people are working remotely, receiving more emails, and more inclined to open them. The email marketing open rates have grown and continue to actually be a very powerful way to communicate. Now, critically here, the open rate of emails, look at that, and I'll give you a moment to dwell on that. Again, I have shown this in previous webinars, that what is the most powerful put in an email is what's in the subject line. 6 to 10 words, 11 to 15 words gets you greater opportunities for opening, even short and sweet. Okay, now, what's this on the screen? Do you know what that is? Well, you've had your lunch. That is part of an email. That's a GIF that's part of a company's email marketing, which is on the next slide. A great example. I couldn't get it to go. I couldn't use a GIF on the left, but on the left page. But that was the campaign that went out to existing customers. There's a lot of lightheartedness. The 2 jokes there. What do you call a tortilla chip that works out? And there's the answer there. But then what do you call a burrito delivered? A dream come true. Very simple, fun, and a call to action. And there you are to buy that and get that delivered to you in a short time. Fantastic way of marketing to customers using new technology by using a GIF rather than boring text. Use a GIF. Many of you might have used the likes of Dropbox, and that's what goes out there to some of their clients at the retention stage. Recently, your Dropbox has been feeling kind of lonely, and no, you're not using it. They reminding you about Dropbox's capability before and after. So email marketing at different stages. Now, here's a shout out to Sal, who may be on the call. Drop me a line to say, can you cover triggered emails on today's webinar? Well, I wasn't intending to. But we like to please our audience. We like to. Some of you are thinking, what's a triggered email? Well, if you have marketing automation built in at your website, or you're using that you can actually use emails, i.e. somebody writes to you and they get an automatic reply, or they subscribe to your newsletter, you get an automatic reply. That often is the first tool. And other areas where you get triggered emails, you've seen them yourself. If you've many of you have got an e-commerce site or bought from an e-commerce site, and you abandon the cart, you get a reminder. If you haven't purchased for a while, you get re-engage and come to us, which was the Dropbox email. If your subscriptions coming up, with car insurance or whatever, or nicely, but it's your birthday. Toby Carvery, always writing to me, IKEA and others, fantastic systems in place. They know that you've been there and the year's gone by, they know your birthday, and they're sending you a little present. And these can be triggered. I think they're a great tool to use, but again, many of it can be actually automated for you. But the key thing is personalize many of them. So that's where you see the cleverness in them. If you bought, or it's your birthday, etc., you'll get a personalized, not a blanket email. Nextly, so hope that's covered email marketing. We can't cover in any great depth websites this afternoon, but we're going to go through this quite quickly. Many times you've heard me talk about the localization of business. So when it comes to your website, before you've even got a website, probably, or at the same time, is to make sure your business is registered with Google. You're collected and picked up in a local search. As you can see, there's an example of a kitchen sink cafe. Those of you will know, you type in the business name or make a search online, and there is all the details, a Google microsite that's linked to maps, shopping, reviews. It would be probably remiss of me not to put this really high on the list of digital marketing activities to make sure you're using wisely your Google My Business. You're generating reviews, you're answering reviews, you're all the time editing it. It's probably one of the most important digital marketing footprints you'll have. And it becomes a microsite. You can do events, posting, etc., all there. And it now starts to integrate with Messenger as well. So Google My Business first thing on websites. Secondly, the actual website itself. Well, I always like to think of a website that's open all hours. All right. Your website should look nice and be in keeping with your brand. Think of it like a corner shop. You want it to look nice. You want people to come. You want people to browse. You want people to buy. Think of it very much as a shop. Your shop may look nice, but if you've got nobody coming in it, or those who come in it don't stay long, it's absolutely essential you know how your website is performing. There's only really one way. I would strongly advocate, if you haven't done so already, tap on the shoulder of your web designer, sign up yourself, but please make sure that you've got Google Analytics, so you'll know how your website is performing. I've just taken a shot of one page on Google Analytics, and it's called the acquisition page. And this is a site, and you can see where people are coming from to arrive at the site. So organic searches, coming through social media, or typing in directly, as you can see in the pie chart. You get an idea of how long people are staying on the site, and you get how long people are buying. All that information is in front of you as to the performance of your website. It isn't about how your website looks, it's about how your website performs. Now, you don't have to be super geek to learn about Google Analytics. What you can do is encourage your web designer to send you a weekly report. You can download the app yourself. You'll learn so much from just studying it 10 minutes a week or whatever to see what is happening, how people are coming to you, what they're doing while they're on your site. An absolute essential part of your digital marketing. Other ones you can use, I like using Hotjar, which is a heat map. You can see where people have actually, what they've done and behaved on your website. Again, a great tool to use. Using your analytics, using the likes of Hotjar, you get an assessment of your website and its performance. I don't intend to spend a lot of time on websites, but probably the biggest mistake many businesses make is not having a visible call to action on a website. So people know where to ring, a contact form, whatever it might be, to click onto social media, whatever it is, but to have a call to action. Also to think about call to action on your social media. What do you want people to do? That's a question we think about every posting and on your website. So critically have a call to action. Now, worth looking this up, think about the performance of a website, and it's Google EAT. EAT stands for expertise, A for authority, E for trustworthiness. So Google, part of their algorithm, will actually favor websites that have expertise in their field. So you're talking about with great authority as well, and then trustworthiness, and that's about the security of the site. Can't spend much time going through that, but worthwhile looking up Google EAT, which there, expertise, authority, okay, I always struggle with that word, authority and trustworthiness. Right. Email marketing, websites, we've incorporated Google My Business, and a very quick stop on that. The next bit, search engine optimization. Woof. In effect, it's how to be found on Google, right? Or better still, to be on the first page of Google. How do I do that? Big topic in itself. Previous webinars have covered it. We're going to cover this very simply in 5 minutes or less than that, just to give you a bit of some of the basics. First thing to do is to do some keyword research. I'm going to put the 4 tools up on the screen that you can use by typing in keywords, and they'll give you the volumes and the daily activity relating to particular keywords. You're looking at research and the likely keywords that people will use to search for your business or your competitor's business or your generic business. So in this situation, we've chosen vitamins. It's quite a broad keyword. So probably it's easier then to continue the Google search and look at the other options. Google starts to list them. So we've gone for vitamins, and then we typed in the magic word 4, and you can see what Google's suggesting there when you've actually conducted a search. So we click slightly deeper, vitamins for women, and there you have what rankings that you might choose. So the key thing with search engine optimization is to fish in the best pond. If you're going to just try and rank highly for the word vitamins, you are fighting an uphill battle. But if you are in market for vitamins specifically for women over 40 or women's health or hair loss, use those keywords. You have a far better chance to be on the front page if you're being very targeted. Can't cover it in masses today. So what you rank for, you want to know, rather than just prospecting with keywords, what you currently rank for. So you'd use the Google Search Console amongst other tools, and it'll tell you what queries people have typed in and the number of impressions. That's 156,000. That's more than Mikey Arwood could do. And and you get an idea of where your relative position is in the world. The Google Search Console gives you an insight into what your website currently ranks for, and you can use the likes of Ahrefs, which will tell you about your competition. And so you can look and type in some of their domain names and some of the likely keywords, and they'll tell you where you rank relative to them. So, question is, once you've found your keywords, then what do I do? Well, you put them in your optimization of the site. So you can see with this particular example, once you've found your keywords, you put them in the page title and then in the meta description. And subsequently, you need to think not just about being mechanical by putting in the words, a post that incorporates some emotion and gets more shares. So it's about adding other words in alongside the keywords. So you're likely to get more shares. I'll show you a couple of examples in a moment. So you put them in the titles, you put them in the meta descriptions, you'll also put them in the headers, the content on the page, and also using alt text, that's ALT-text, you actually label images with the keywords. Voila, easy. Hey. Pay-per-click, that's up next, pay-per-click. That's how Google make their money. That's how they make their money. So you end up in a situation many of you will be familiar with, to be the top of the page, with your ad there. In this situation, it's about candle holders. But it goes far deeper than that. Here's what I'm saying about emotional as well as keywords. Direct Line, got an advert running, but they're telling you why they're unique. Come direct to Direct Line for car insurance. They're the keywords. Quote, you can't get anywhere else. And they're telling you they're not on comparison sites. So it's not just about using the keywords. They're giving you a reason to buy them. They're differentiating themselves, which is back to the thing we said a little while ago about making sure you get your message to your audience as to why you should buy from them. Now, we like a deal, don't we? Google are often saving you a few pennies or enticing you in, depending on your perspective. Here was an offer I took advantage for. They will give you an ad credit. And even there's an 0800 number you can find, ring up somebody in Google, you get through to them in Ireland, and they'll spend time on the phone with you, helping you. So how about that? I learned about AdWords and pay-per-click by picking up the phone to Google, and they took me through it. How about that? There you go. Spend a little bit of money on pay-per-click to be high on the first page. Oh, paid search ads. I thought we'd cover those. Well, there's a difference between the different types of how you can spend your money with Google, because you can run paid ads. And here was an example. You'll see them all the time. At the top of the page, and this Daily Telegraph, The Economist is advertising. So it's not just about trying to be on the first page of Google, it's about being with ads. So you'll probably see them. Ads appear on content, and it'll know related to your behavior and the cookies that you're leaving and your digital footprint that you're leaving, that you can actually get messages to your audience through paid ads. So this is the difference. Think of them as search ads and display ads. The advantage of search ads, they tend to work best for high volume searches. They work very well for immediate services like plumber, electrician, and the budget you normally have to lay out is less. The advantage of the display ads is that you can probably build your brand better, you're more flexible, and you've got remarketing. So if you leave your footprint and your cookies on a particular subject, like fishing, for example, and people and the Google know you're into fishing, you'll visit websites and there will be the advert for fishing. It's very clever. It's about ad retargeting as well. Probably the best thing to do is to do a bit of both and see what works. And how do you know what works? Because you are using your Google Analytics to tell you and show you what works. There's no point at all in running any ads unless you have your analytics. I wouldn't even go there. Get your analytics, part of the same thing, and then you can see and you can spend a little or a lot, but see if it works for you. There we go. 5 down. Here we go. Next on the list, content marketing. What is content marketing? Well, what is it? I don't know. There you are. It is that. There's 5 examples of content marketing. We haven't got time to cover them all, but there's blogs, webinars, podcasts, becoming more and more the vlogs, talking real life, real-time video, and then video itself. Right, so there you are. I'll cover the blog quickly. The blog is usually 350 to 500 words, which you're putting on your website in the form of a news article or information, and work on that basis. You're putting something there, I don't know. It's additional to the content you have already on your website. And think of it as if you're talking to a neighbor or a friend. And what would be fantastic with your blog is to make sure your blog has keywords. Put those in there. But also, as we saw earlier with the Burrito newsletter, to make sure it's also visually appealing. To make it fun as well with images, because as I said earlier, we saw in the quiz, 94% more likely to be engaged with pictures. Also, if you've written some words, you don't just have to put them on your website. You can guest blog. You can guest blog on your LinkedIn. You can guest blog on your Facebook, but you can guest blog elsewhere and link back to your website. Way! And one of the great places to do that on that blurry slide is on the likes of Medium. Yeah, great place to go to actually put your blog and to get some more traffic. That's just about writing 500 words and doing that. But also, you might want to think about other places to find places to blog. So online magazines, your industry leaders may well be able to guide you as to where they're blogging. You get guest blogging yourself, but all the time, what you're doing is naturally optimizing your website because you're setting backlinks that come back to your website. Whew, blogs. Affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing, what's all that? Well, here we go. There is examples of affiliate marketing on the screen. Now, not all of them are relevant for you, but if you are, for example, a life coach or a counselor, you may register your business and promote yourself through a directory. If you're a pub, restaurant, etc., hotel, through TripAdvisor, you're welcome to Yorkshire covers a whole raft of different things. And then the trusted trader, they get a lot more traffic than your website will get. So by placing your business in these areas here, you are likely to generate much more traffic. Some you have to pay for, some not. But it's about finding those as well as finding directories, just like Yell and other directories that may suit your business or your specialty. So think about using affiliates. Okay, now that's appeared very late in the day, Simon. Time is so short in an hour to cover social media. I don't intend to cover in any depth on this particular occasion, except to put a couple of slides up on the screen. This is all, for me, social media is ultimately about where we started earlier about where your business and your customers and your journey of your customers, and making sure that you are in or engaging in the right channels where your audience is, right from Snapchat to LinkedIn and to Facebook, and the different platforms for different client bases. But critically, and this is also part of content marketing as well as social media, to offer any advice on content is to think video. Video may have killed the radio star, but video is the future. It is the future now and beyond. So not all of us, or many of us, most of us, are unhappy or nervous, apprehensive about doing the old bit to camera. Well, there's lots of different ways to do it. I was with a business recently, it's a manufacturing business, and all they did was film the hands of the employees making the product. You can film people in creative ways, but video, engaging video, is where you will get a lot of traction and where you can stand out from the crowd. And you can use it across every platform I've mentioned: content, affiliate, website, etc. And using questions and answers, product tutorial, or how-to kind of scenario are usually three ways in which you can maximize video. So think carefully, and there are tools like Canva, Magisto, and other tools that you can find that are free to use that can make your video more Hollywood than just looking like it's come from a box brownie. The other thing I would say with social media, and absolutely critically, is that there's a disproportion between the amount of posting and the amount of engagement. Many businesses I encounter just post, post, post. And if you stopped and made yourself the challenge that you'll flip that round and you'll engage more than post, I think you're far more likely to reach success rather than just having it one way, not being the pub bore. Right. In the closing stretches, digital marketing offline. WhatsApp, WeChat, and all that family are becoming more and more significant. Many businesses now are using the WhatsApp business and creating their own groups and using closed groups with many clients on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So think really carefully about using WhatsApp. As you can see, if you're in a WhatsApp group or you're actually sending messages by using text, you can get a very powerful message out there. And that's what's probably happening a lot in the catering sector, particularly where you see that now, where people are going in there and not actually ordering from a restaurant, ordering from an app where there's messaging. The other thing I'd mention is about radio. Now, radio, believe it or not, is a digital marketing tool and actually has grown in importance post-lockdown. So you've seen that situation whereby radio ads cannot be sort of stopped and turned off. So again, it's a little bit hard in terms of pinning your audience down, but quite an inexpensive way. Mention television. What it is, guys, going back a bit here. Again, it can be a very inexpensive way, surprisingly, of advertising, particularly from a consumer-based product. But again, you might want to think that localized areas, not completely a write-off. Digital billboards. You never expect to see billboards twice mentioned here today, did you? Well, with the Internet of Things and the growth of some clever things like you see the likes of Lego, you can actually in other areas you see on the London Underground and elsewhere, where you actually are, the message is changing depending on the amount of people relative to the board. There's a lot to be said for creating brand awareness and actually using billboards, again, very strategically, but again, back to the issue about where your audience is and the message, and they might be more geared around business to business, sorry, business to consumer, as opposed to business to business. Oh, that's 50 minutes. 50, we're nearly finished. Get your questions ready, because here we come, the future of digital marketing. Well, I've touched upon it, and I'll do it. It is that. Virtually every blog and everything you read, we're moving into a world, if we're not there already, of gathering is to use artificial intelligence. So even you see on websites with chatbots, you've seen marketing automation, you've seen all different aspects that you can get your message out there using automated, and you can use artificial intelligence. So rather than actually do it yourself, you actually get something to do it for you. And the thing about artificial intelligence, ultimately marketing, even back to the good old days, is about consumers, customers, and data. Knowing who your customers are, what they're doing, where they are on the customer journey, what they're buying from you, what they're not buying from you, where they are, when they bought previously, etc. A lot of this can be done by artificial intelligence. Do you have any questions? I'm going to try and answer some in a moment. I'm going to thank you for attending today. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope it hasn't gone too fast. I hope you've learned something. Thank you very much for attending. And next week, I can't wait. We're going to go down a slightly different route. We're going to be talking about customer service and about the telephone and about all aspects of customer service, online and offline. And we'll have some live examples of customer service to share. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to go on to the chat line and see what everyone has asked. I'll see if I can answer these. Thank you very much, Phil. Steve, how do you access Google Analytics? Thank you, Steve. The answer there is that you'll have register with Google and actually make sure then you go onto Google Analytics element and they'll give you a code, which is a UA code. That code then will be put in your website, in the back of it, in the mechanics of the website, and then it becomes real time. So if you did it today, you'll get all your analytics from the 8th of September onwards. And then you can just download apps and access it that way. Hopefully that helps. If you do struggle, have a word with your web designer who should have done it. If they haven't, naughty step time. Have I got any questions on anything else? So that's analytics. Thank you very much for everyone's kind words here. Kaylee, do you know of any artificial intelligence web chats to use for websites? I think about web chat. Can I come back to that one separately? Because I've had that question asked before. I'll message you about the use of chatbots. Is that every question answered? Is that done? Hey, that was good, wasn't it? Oh, anything else? I think that's it. Well, hopefully that was a good use of an hour, wasn't it? So I would like to say that unless anyone has any further questions, you will get a copy of the slides. I'll send to you. The video will be made available. As I always say every week, under the Humber Growth Lab, if you would like some one-to-one help and actually to have some specific stuff, which I know one or two of you on the call have taken advantage of, please drop me a line because that can be organized and we can do all the one-to-one digital marketing stuff for you. So hopefully that's okay. Catherine asked a question, I must answer that one. How does artificial intelligence influence digital marketing? Well, it's about, rather than do it yourself, it's about having someone do it for you and actually analyzing data. It's a very quick answer to the question, but it is about the automation and about the ability to communicate. So without further ado, I'm going to hang around here for the next few minutes if anyone has any specific questions, but if not, same time, same back channel next Tuesday. Hopefully you've enjoyed today and be safe, and I'll see you next week. And then there were 9